Hi, welcome back to Mr. Guy's Classroom. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Star Reader program. I've had some questions relayed to me from parents, so I just wanted to clarify a couple points. The Star Reader program, if you don't know, or as most parents know it as, is this thing that comes home every night, stands for Sit Together and Read, and it's an opportunity for your child and you to sit together and read for 5, 10, 15 minutes tops. We don't want this taking the place of pleasure reading or reading for fun. We want this to be just a more structured form of reading. When they come home, they're going to be bringing home leveled books from our classroom library, and those books they keep in their book boxes, these colorful boxes over here, and they get to pick one of those out. So these are books that they have for the week that they're working on. Sometimes they'll bring home books that's their first time reading it. Other times they might have read it a couple times, so they can work on different things. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about accuracy and how you can prompt your child when you're reading with them. Attached to your weekly report today, you'll have a bookmark like this. It's made nice and large, so it's difficult to lose. I recommend sticking this wherever your child reads. You can even keep it inside of their book bag if you'd like. And I'm just going to cover a couple of the strategies here that you can use. When we are prompting our kids, we want to start with the 3 Ps. We want to start with, when a kid gets stuck on a word, pause, give them a time to figure it out. Okay. Then you can prompt, and when we prompt, we want to prompt with one of these strategies. Or clues and hints about the word. We don't want to give them the word outright. We want them to try to figure it out. That builds independent readers. And then lastly, you want to praise the child for their effort. We don't want to really attach the praise to whether or not they have the word right, although you could mention that they figured it out and they used their strategy. But we want to really attach it to the effort and the use of the strategy, specifically if they use the strategy independently, because that's really where we want them to go. So anyway, these strategies here are quick little reminders of things you can do when they get stuck on a word. And you can have this out right next to them while they're reading as well. So I'll go through them quickly. Eagle eye just means that you're looking at the pictures for clues. We do recommend that when a child is reading, especially a new book, they look at all the pictures first to get their brain kind of ready for the story. The second one is lips the fish. Reminds the child to get their mouth ready for a word. The example I always use in class is I tell the kids, even if you don't see a sentence, if I read a sentence to you and it said, Mr. Guyett is a t, and I gave you that first sound, most kids will guess teacher. And then we've tried another example of Mr. Guyett is a and kids will say, oh, Mr. Guyett is a magician, or Mr. Guyett is a man. And then we have to look at the rest of the word to figure out which one of those makes sense. But getting our mouth ready will help us get some clues there. Stretchy snake means just stretching out the word. You might see your child tapping letters. We do allow them to do that, but we also want them to actually try to stretch the word out without having to tap each sound. So if they see a word like ship, they can say ship and try to stretch it out a little bit. That's going to help with their comprehension because they won't be spending so much time. This is not as efficient, and it's more of a last resort. For shorter words, we want to see if they can stretch it out. Chunky monkey is just a reminder to look at chunks that you already know in words. So if you see a word like land, you'll see the word and right in there that they know. It's a sight word that we know. So they can go land and stretch out that word too with a chunk. Skippy frog, a lot of times one of the best strategies is just to skip the word that you don't know and come back to it at the end. There might be context clues and other clues in the story or other clues on that page that'll help you figure out that word. Flippy the dolphin, we haven't taught explicitly yet because we're still working on the short vowel sounds. But it's basically if you get stuck in a word, try different vowel sounds, see if that works. So if the word has an A in it, we know now that right now we're learning that A can say a, but later on they'll be learning, and some already know that A can also say a. So try both those sounds to see if that helps you figure out the word. Careful caterpillar is a good strategy for kids, especially if you notice that they're reading and they're not reading the entire word. Excuse me. If they're not reading the entire word, so if they're reading jump instead of jumping, making sure they're taking their finger and tracing the whole word as they go, as they're reading, to make sure they get to the ending. And then trying lion is a good fluency and accuracy strategy. Once they figure out the word, they should go back and reread the sentence. The first pass is really to kind of get the sense of it. If they know it all, that's great, and they can read it fluently, that's awesome. But if they get stuck on a word, have to decode a word, it's always best to go back and then reread the sentence so they can get the full comprehension and the full context of what they're reading on the page. Anyway, so that's just a little hint of what you can do. As far as the semantics of the Star Reader sheet, please put one book per night on the sheet. Mr. Guyett will start off and send it back to them. I start off in rainbow order so I can tell when a student misses a day. And that will be recorded on the weekly report as well. And again, this does not take the place of pleasure reading. Please read as much as you can. Expose your kids to as much literature and different types of text as you can. But this is just one little structured way that we kind of give you an idea of what we're working on. And lastly, if you notice your child is struggling with the books that are coming home, or you think the books are much too easy, they're blowing right through them. then please just make a note on the back of their sheet, and when you send that in, I can take a look at it. They do pick the books out independently with some guidance, so sometimes an easy or hard book will slip by. That's it. If you have any questions or comments, comment down and below underneath this video. There's also a link in the video. If you look in the description of the video down here, also somewhere down there, there'll be a link to some more information about reading strategies, and also my email address is linked in there too. And I look forward to continuing our partnership together. So have a wonderful weekend, and Thanksgiving's just around the corner. Bye.